Lieutenant General Nishikanta Singh. Sir, in this case, when various political parties are not able to get their own lawmakers who are divided on the ethnic lines to sit together, what is the way forward, sir? And I know this for sure, even Congress could not get its lawmakers from different ethnic communities to sit together in one room. Opposition party, leave alone ruling party.
I'm not a political man, but what I understand is the present problem is between the Meitei and the Kuki and their affiliates. When we talk about the tribal, when we talk about the various ethnic groups, Nagas, there is the Tangkuls or the Rongmais and other various ethnic groups, they really do not have any problem in sitting together. So what the problem lies that unfortunately the problem lies, as has been brought out by my friend, that there has been some very serious violence, and so Kuki and their affiliates are really boycotting the thing. And I'm sure that whatever the wisdom that is there in the center will sooner or later consider the views of the Kukis and their affiliates. And also, because at the end of the day, they are also as good a citizen as myself. We all are part of this great country, and everyone deserves justice. And justice will be done to them.
Okay.
That is what my feeling is.
You're saying justice will be done today. That's a fair
thing.
No,
not today. What I said, justice will be done to everyone. Justice will be done to everyone. At the end of the day, we all, in fact, like as I brought out in my opening this thing, I'm really sad. That the state which I thought when I came back on retirement about 4 or 5 years back has really improved. It was my assessment appears to have been wrong. We still have a heterogeneous population with far too many egos. In fact, I'm reminded of a country known as Lebanon. Is Manipur really turning into a Lebanon where you have various militias roaming around? That is what my fear. I'm sure that government of India will not allow it to happen.
Okay.
I'm sure the government of India will allow.
I think when you use the word Lebanon, I don't think we have gone there. Angshuman, why have Meiteis fled from widely read newspaper of Delhi has reported 300 Meiteis have taken refuge in Myanmar. Why has that happened from Moreh?
Well, I mean, firstly, I'm not completely sure about that piece of news. Particularly, I'm pretty sure people must have fled across the border to Myanmar, but I'm not sure about the numbers being reported. So that's one thing. Those things need ground verification before we conclude something. Secondly, look, that border is pretty porous. People shuttle across that border even in peacetime, right? And that border is simply artificially constructed line which separates contiguous communities who have been living there, straddling both sides since centuries now. So during times of crisis, people shuttle across to flee violence wherever they find safe haven. So the immediate reason, of course, would be that they are fleeing in order to they are moving to Myanmar in order to flee violence in Manipur. But of course, the situation looks very odd. All of this looks very odd because over the last 2 years since the February 2021 coup in Myanmar, we have only seen people from Myanmar, from Sagaing region and Chin State fleeing into Manipur and Mizoram. And today we are seeing a backward movement, which is quite, it's bizarre and unfortunate at the same time. It speaks a lot to the situation on the ground in Manipur that that people are having to flee into a country which is itself seeing such grave turmoil, including airstrikes on almost a daily basis. And remember, these airstrikes are also happening in Sagaing region, where people are fleeing from Manipur. That Tamu-Moreh corridor has been, I would say, refugee influx and outflux corridor since February 2021. in many ways. So I would say it's not surprising that people would flee. But I would suppose that in this case, those who have fled across the border in Myanmar would prefer to return soon, given the situation in Myanmar, given the grave situation in
Okay.
Myanmar.
Okay. Now, Dr. Malem, now you heard Timothy's point of view. I would like you to respond to it. Is this the way forward? Is CM replaceable?
No, see, it rests in the wisdom of the central government to decide on what is the best course of actions for developing a peace committee and who should be a member, as I said in the beginning. But I have some point of reservations to what our friend from the case or the lawyer was saying. Like, let's be very clear when we speak. Let's not try to fabricate facts with all kinds of ill intentions. The conflict is between the Meiteis and the Cookies. Let's not call it the tribal versus or non-tribals. Let's not drag the entire tribal communities into it. And number two, please be careful of using the words like genocide and etc. If it is genocide, then the genocide begins at Churachandpur and More on 3rd. It doesn't begin from the valley. It's a retaliation, right? It's a retaliation. It's a conflict. Let's not aggravate the situations by coining and juggling with deceptive terms. I have strong reservations to all these one-sided views. Let's try to bring peace. That's the point that I want to point out. And the other friend was talking about artificial boundary. I don't know what he means by artificial boundary. The Indo-Burma boundary that came into existence in 1967 was a fallout of a long course of negotiations between the Burma and British government from 1826 till 1834. And after the transfer of Cabo Valley Agreement was signed, demarcation took place after a series of intercourse based on history, based on the contingency, and based on the population, etc., that finally came into existence in 1896. So when he talked about artificially constructed boundary, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't understand what he really meant by it. But yes, whether the chief minister is there or not, I'm not the right person to comment on it. But it's something already decided by the central government, how it is being formed, how it should be formed, how it should be strengthened, whom should be invited, whom should be deleted, how many more will be added, will depend on the wisdom of the central government. And those who are not happy with the composition or the manner how it is being formed may directly appeal to the central government. I think it's not the right place here in the media to discuss on who should be there and who should not be there. Thank you.
Timothy, would you like to respond to Dr. Malem?
The allegation from his side that it started from this or it started from that, it is clear that first thing, the media centers have already, given the narration that it all started from the hill area and then a retaliation happened in the Imphal. The people have earlier panels have also highlighted, even the public have also highlighted in their own perspective way in the social medias, how the state medias are being controlled, how when the state media also when they try to portray what has actually happened have been receiving threat messages, have been forced to clarify those statements. You have seen how the Assam journalist was threatened when she posted about the Meitei militants were involved in burning villages or killing attacking the Kuki villages, how she was threatened, how her life was also in danger when she was there in Imphal. So this all shows how the media was also regulated in Imphal area. So his statement saying that this was retaliation is totally absurd and it's totally wrong. It happens. It started in the problem started when there was a killing in the Kamwai area, and how systematically there was extreme violence in the Imphal area. How the people had attacked the people staying in the valley area, and then slowly and gradually how they have started attacking villages every day. And then they are not even you've heard about the news where a 5 years old boy along with his mother was burned alive in the ambulance. And then another attack which was happening in Sugnu area where an elderly woman was shot dead. And again today, another attack is been happening. So I don't understand the call for peace and this attack happening every now and then. So unless the weapons which have been looted from the police station are seized, this violence is totally going to happen every now and then by the Meitei miscreants. So let the weapons which are snatched be, taken by the army or the central forces, whoever is deployed. And after that, I think the peace committee can sit together and talk for peace. The weapons are still there in their hands. The attack is still happening. The attack is not happening in the valley. It is happening in the hill areas. So who is the perpetrator? I think we all can decide and we all can imagine also.
Very quickly, it's clearly Dr. Malem misinterpreted my point. I did not mean it's not a real border. Of course, it's a real international border agreed upon after a long political process. When I say artificial border, I merely mean in the literal sense of the term that it's a man-made line. It's not a natural barrier. But of course, as someone who studies international relations, I very much know that it's a real international border with real political significance. But my limited point was to say that it's a barrier which people traverse under a legal free movement regime, which is currently in place in Manipur, in Mizoram, not in Manipur. But my point was to say that it's a border which people regularly shuttle across. That was my limited point, not that it's not a real border.